G'day guys, John from Ruralco Water here with your weekly Southern Basin market update for Tuesday the 7th of July. A little bit of a different one this week, a little bit longer, a little bit more information with just some market on the end. So storage as well, we've experienced some pretty widespread rain across the Southern Basin over the last, well especially the last week, but definitely over the last month, which has seen a really welcome improvement in storage levels and an improvement in in-ground moisture on farm, which has been excellent for users across the basin. And this has also boosted sentiment for irrigators and dryland croppers across the basin. To have that moisture in the ground to start in the next season is a great position to be in. Southern Basin storage levels are currently at about 52%. Now this is compared to 58% at this same time last year, but the welcome news is this is up from 43% 6 weeks ago. So it's a nice increase in that last month, and hopefully with a little bit more rain later in the month, we see that increase a bit further. And there's further inflows still expected to reach the storages over the next week. Well, last week we saw the allocation announcement made last Wednesday, and these wetter conditions over the last month played an integral role in a better than expected opening allocation especially across Victoria. In the Goulburn system, as recently as mid-May, there was genuine concern over the possibility of a 0% opening allocation if conditions had continued the way they were. Instead, the high reliability water shareholders received an opening allocation of 15%, accompanied by a low risk of spill declaration straight away at the start of the season. So this has placed Goulburn irrigators, even though allocations are still low, with that carryover and that opening allocation, this is in a much better position than our forecast to be less than 2 months ago. So it's great news in the Goulburn. In the Murray system, the Vic high reliability water share holders, they opened with a conservative allocation of 29%. Again, better than what was forecast as recently as mid-May, and significantly better. However, following those recent rainfall events and those improving inflows, particularly in both Hume and Dartmouth storages, it's likely that we see another meaningful increase next week on the 15th in the next allocation announcement. And this will be really welcome for irrigators across the basin. In South Australia, Class 3 entitlement holders also had a welcome increase. The initial announcement was for 83% opening allocation. That was increased by the 2nd of July to 92%. And we would expect another increase either in a fortnight or at the start of next month there. And as expected in New South Wales, Murray and Murrumbidgee general security accounts opened at 0%, while New South Wales Murray High opened at its expected and guaranteed 97%, and Bidgee High opened at 95%. The IVT is the other big thing at this time of year. The Goulburn to Murray Inter-Valley Trade account opened on July 2nd with just 112 gig of space out from the Goulburn into the Murray. Notably, this was the first opening in recent years where the account has not been massively oversubscribed. There are only 4 unsuccessful applications of everyone across users who applied to get water out. This raises an interesting question though as to whether irrigators perceive carryover risk in the Goulburn to be too high, or if they consider the lottery of getting it out through that IVT to be too high. Or whether other market factors like that low opening allocation and expected low allocation into 26-27 has just put a bit of pressure on people looking to move water out. Unfortunately, the Inter-Valley trade from above choke to below choke saw the opposite. There was 24 gig of space made available this year, down from what was made available last year, and there was over 43 gig of applications put in for that space. So it was very competitive, the above to below choke IVT, with lots of people missing out on getting their water through. And it highlights the continued demand for downstream trade opportunities out of Zone 6 and Zone 10 into Zone 7 and Zone 11 especially. It's an interesting one just to keep an eye on if there are openings throughout the year as water moves about within the system. Unlike most seasons, we have not seen the same urgency to move water out of the Murrumbidgee into the Murray as we would see every other year. Currently, there remains 92.7 gig of available outspace, so that's space for water to move from the Murrumbidgee into the Murray. In trade, so from Murray to Murrumbidgee, remains closed. It'll be interesting to see just how that market plays out and whether, as we see the temporary allocation market start to pick up over the coming months, whether sellers in that zone move their water out into the Murray. As is typical at this time of year, the markets are still trying to find their feet. You know, we've just had opening last week, we've had recent rainfall, we have supplementary water events in the Murrumbidgee. So those markets are still developing and there's no real firm price yet. Current indicative pricing for allocation in zones 7 and 11, so Victoria 7, New South Wales 11, and in SA, and in the Murrumbidgee, we're seeing around $425 to $430 a megalitre, and we are seeing some trade at that price. And that trade is starting to pick up today. In Goulburn, it's approximately $400 to $420 a meg, and above choke in the Victoria Murray and in zone 10, it's approximately $350 to $400, with just very slow trade in that zone. As always, these prices are indicative only and remain subject to how the market's going to move. Get in touch with your local Ruralco water broker for the most up-to-date and best information. Thanks and have a great week.